exporting to us, back to us that material. So we wanted to authenticate so that the law, the RA that I mentioned earlier, would also be enabled. And lastly, in actual applications, parang, this is just a discussion that we had with DND, the National Defense, where they say, paano mo nalaman pag yung checkpoint mo ay police talaga? So this could also be used, maybe a markings in the uniforms that when you shine the blue light, maybe you say, oh, yeah, really he is. And then the footprint or the fingerprint of this one is that the wavelength is very specific. So if you have tuned the mark, fluorescein or the fluorophore to be, say for example, at 525, if you see a 500.
Morning, ED Ningning.
start. And with that, thank you very much for listening. Magandang umaga po.
Good morning, Yusek, Gav, Edie, Jimmy, Ningning, and Hill.
Good morning, Dr. Giselle.
I just have to ask a question. Hill, in Julius Leaño's talk is going now. Textile, okay?
Good morning po.
Good morning.
Morning, Ning.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm already in the other chat. So I just wanted to congratulate Julius, and I follow his work through with Dr. Salya Lumba. And I'd like to suggest that we look at the model in Indonesia, where batik was developed at the, decades ago with commitment from the government in different grades or qualities. But they created the market, and they started with government employees to make use of the batik, which was some had types had natural and also synthetic, composites with it. So I think we have to create the market. I recall during the time of President Estrada, they required government employees to use Philippine lana, but that is like the style, not the material itself. My second comment, Julius, is I do have a cellulase, suite of cellulases from bacteria from the tamilox of the mangroves. So if you needed, this bacterium to produce very, very potent cellulases, then I would be willing to share this with you from our lab. So I have to, yes, I'll leave now because of the talk of Seth Boy at 9 a.m. Okay, thank you, Julius. Congratulations. Salamat.
Most of the next curators have so many activities from PAASE. Organized by Giselle, where Secretary Boy will also will be speaking. So maybe just a follow up on Annalyn. Annalyn, I think she's from Baguio, if I'm not
Good morning,
mistaken.
everyone. Many activities in PAASE.
Good morning. I'm from Memorandum. I'm with the Frontier Textiles Project. Yeah, we have some.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us. We were just at the Friday PAASE webinar, where Dr. Julius Leaño of DOST PTRI talked about the exciting research and development at the PTRI on nanocomposite clothing material and also on our natural dyes. It's amazing. I have really been following the developments in PTRI. I'm so excited about it. So thanks for joining us, everyone.
Hello, Al.
Morning.
Good morning. See you.
Good to see you.
You know, okay, to turn my video.
ICP, good to see you.
Advance Merry Christmas, Yusek Gab.
Advance Merry Christmas to you all too.
Saan ka ba nagka-quarantine? Sa Subic or sa dito?
Sa UP, ah?
Sa UP.
Siyempre.
Kailan ka uuwi ng
Next
province?
week.
Next week.
Oo, marami pa kaming trabaho eh.
Never ending.
So Giselle, na-cancel yung yung sabi ko na 9:30.
Oh my gosh.
So I
Masyadong-
can say, I just need to leave at, hanggang ano oras ba to? 9? Hanggang 10?
Mga 10, oo. 10
Okay,
or
I can
10
stay the whole
quarter.
time.
Tamang-tama. Masaya yung mga discussion. So,
Yeah.
nandito si si Val Reyes of UP Earthly, your alumna.
He was the president of the Alumni Association when I was the dean. So I know.
Okay. Kaya nakatagal si Val.
Hi, Val.
Of course, Joel is here. Joel Queller.
Of course.
Brendan.
And Richard.
Beth
I've met
Lacos.
Richard twice this week already.
Good morning.
Hi,
Morning,
Richard,
everyone.
again.
Rodel is here. Rodel, morning.
Morning.
Rodel is the first time I meet. Hi, Rodel.
Okay.
Si Beth Lahos.
Hi,
Beth,
President Beth. Good
Beth,
morning.
Beth.
This is my second time
Hi,
with Beth this week.
Yeah, hi, Yusek Gab.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
good morning. Si
Si
Jello,
Jimmy, pang-apat ko na yata this week. Hi, Jimmy.
Dito na ba si Jimmy? Ayan. Morning, Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy is here na.
Hi.
Si Ning din from NIST is here. Ning.
Si Ning. Hi, good morning.
Hi,
Dr.
Nick. What's the
Good morning po.
Ng umaga.
Well, Anne
Hi, Anne.
Up to what time is this?
10.
10 o'clock siguro. 10 lang.
9:30. Realistically, mga maabot ng 9:30. But
Director Jimmy, before pumasok si Sec Boy, bigyan mo naman kami ng updates on the vaccine. Ano ba?
Alam yan ni Yusek Gab. You ask her.
Yusek Gab, ano na ba?
More on the technical.
Iba-iba yung mga balita eh.
Ganito, we're trying to get a portfolio of the 4 types of vaccines. So we're dealing with Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Janssen, and Novavax. So that way we'll get the whole caboodle. And the chief implementer, si Secretary Galvez, is negotiating with these companies directly. So it's only him who is allowed to negotiate for the Philippines based on his appointment. Our task, we are DOST, DOH, RITM, FDA, DFA, and one more, DTI. We are in charge of vaccine evaluation and selection. So when a vaccine company wants to conduct clinical trial here, they go through us. We have a vaccine expert panel that does the technical part, and then it's passed to the ethics review, and then it goes to the FDA. Pag pumasa dun sa dalawa, sa vaccine expert panel at saka sa ethics review. So far, we are pursuing 22 leads of vaccines.
Wow.
And among those, we already have CDAs with 9.
So even with US FDA approval, they will still have to go through clinical trials locally.
The clinical trial is not required, especially since about in a few days, the EUA, the Emergency Use Authority, is going to be issued the guidelines, so they can apply. And if the requirement is an SRA, meaning to say they are FDA approved in their country, and that country has to be ano na nga yung S?
Stringent regulatory authority.
Regulatory authority. For example, Pfizer would
US FDA.
The US so that would qualify. But of course, it will still be reviewed for 21 to 28 days by FDA.
The distribution, Gab, on the the cold storage chain. Paano?
It's very good that the private sector has kicked in, so they're helping us.
Good.
Because that's their business.
Yes.
And then some of the ones that used to be to minus 70 degrees, naglyophylize na sila. So 2 to 8 na din sila.
Ano na lang ngayon? -8? -4?
2 to 8.
Okay.
Positive.
Pfizer dine-develop na para mas transportable.
What Gab was Utilization na.
So
pag-practice na ako para sa 10:30 AM namin.
Okay, very good.
I'd like to recognize former USEC Ami Guevara is here.
Hi, USEC Ami.
Hi.
Morning.
And then Tito Aliga. Hi, Tito.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Merry Christmas, ma'am.
Merry Christmas.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Yusek, hi, Giselle.
Hi, Dito.
Hi,
Good
Gina.
morning.
Good morning. Thanks for inviting us, Giselle.
Always, very, very
Susunod na kayo Tito.
ethical partners.
Puntahan namin next month. Industry lahat. Next week. Next month.
Yeah.
Pero I was impressed by the presentation of Julius Elianio.
Yeah,
Marami
Julius.
marami pala nangyayari doon,
Bright star yan,
Gab.
yan si Julius.
Pero there are two things I like. Number one is yung sabi niya, you lock in the value and benefit in the host community.
Yeah.
It may go against economies of scale, but I think in the long run, if the community progresses, then it has a bigger impact on society.
Social impact.
Yeah. The second one is I thought research productivity, mabilis yung turnaround from lab to market. Mabilis ang turnaround from lab to market, and I think that's the one that enables many participants, companies to be interested, and the host communities to be excited about what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they should adapt yung
Tulungan
DTI na
Dito,
DTI na one product.
Pero dito kasi papasok yung mga engineers. So yung limitation, I think, is the width of the loom for the longest time, di ba?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. How
Ang galing ng PTRI. Pag gusto nilang i-widen, they can. Hanggang 60 na ngayon.
wider looms para mas mahaba yung tela.
60.
Ganda yun.
They can do. Yeah.
Saka maganda yung sabi nga ni Julius, they are also designing and fabricating the equipment that will make the product. Maganda yun, Gab.
Yeah. Alam mo gaano kagaling si PTRI? Bigla siyang nabigyan ng 77 million bago mag-end ang year. Para magtayo ng medical textile testing facility.
Correct ka dyan. So I think doblehin mo yan, Gab. Double it para they can do more.
Hindi, kaya na nila yun. That's enough.
Challenge yun, Tito. Procurement on 60. Kaya mid-year pa, sabi ni Julius and Celia. But sabi ko, hair on fire problem ng industry yan sa textile medical applications.
Yeah.
Yep,
We were given a year to get the facility up and running. And I think we can do it.
Yeah. And the other thing we need to do, Gabe, is to multiply the Juliuses in the country.
Oh, he's
Kasi lang mag-isa eh. Kaya dapat there should be at least 100 of them. Otherwise, hindi natin
dito ang problema nga natin.
yung effort.
Dito ang problema natin. We produce 400 to 500 MS and PhDs per year for the last.
No, but I mean, mga people who will want to work with him.
Yeah, there are.
Good.
Okay. So I think our secretary, Boy, is now with us. Thank you, Sec Boy.
Thank you.
Sec Boy, would you like to just test your video? And then we will start. Good morning, Sec Boy.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Yes.
I will just check whether my PowerPoint presentation has been received by PAASE.
Oh, are we going to be the one to play it? Because we have allowed you to screen share your stuff. So
I will request you to play it.
Oh, okay. Did you send it by email to me?
Just check.
All right, just a moment. All right, so I have not received it as of now, Sec Boy.
Yusek Geb, it is with Asek Leia. Can you help me with that?
Yes, Sec Boy.
Andito na rin yung ating mga foreign between Joel. Gobet is there na rin.
Gobet is in.
Yeah.
Good morning, Dr. Serapika.
Morning, Sec Boy.
Congratulations. Di ba si Dr. Serapika is now a member of the Academy, the National
corresponding
Academy?
member.
Yes, congratulations.
Funding member po.
Thank you.
Hi, Ningning. Director
Hi,
Ningning. Good morning.
sir. Merry Christmas. Good morning.
Oo. Si Tito has been there early. Alam mo naman si Tito ay laging handa.
Yes, sir. Correct ka dyan.
I
Yes,
had
at
I
saka
had
I'm learning a lot. Like,
I had to wait for my turn in the ano tawag dito, Agricultural Consortium program, and usually ang dami nila mga introduction. So by the time my time came, it was already 9:54, 8:54. So I had to deliver my piece very quickly. Oo. So
yan ang maganda sa PAASE. They start on time.
Okay, okay. So
Boy, wala pa rin yung video. Hindi ko pa natanggap sa email ko.
I'm asking Yusek Geb to handle it.
Okay. So, Sec Boy, we had a good talk by Julius Leaño of PTRI.
Yes, yes.
We're also in conversation with Gobet and Toby. So Gobet is here now, and then Toby is driving. It's about yung nga, biomaterials for circular economy. So talagang maganda na mag-connect si Julius, si Gobet for the nanocellulosic crystals. Tapos si Toby naman wants Gobet to produce new plastics, renewable for circular economy.
Dami nilang bagong programs sa Textile Research Institute. Ang worry ko lang, baka naman puro si Julius ang gumagawa niyan, ay talagang wala ng panahon.
Well, kailangan mag-research na talaga si Julius should lead.
That's what I cited to Geb kanina. We must have about 200 Juliuses to make it work.
Ang dami nilang ginagawa, and they're all good, and I think there is also ano tawag dito, there are some things that they have to give up. Things that I have been seeing since 1982.
Talaga.
Maybe you can advise me. Yes. Do you think we will progress on silk?
No, Sec Boy, may I suggest something? If you create the market where the government employees first have to wear the PTRI material, yung pinaka mahusay na pero hindi masyadong mahal, you would create the market. Ganun ang ginawa nila sa Indonesia sa batik industry.
There is a law,
there is a law
that requires us to wear the PTRI prescribed material.
Yeah, so
but nobody from the private sector is producing it in quantity.
Ayan so give them incentives. Well, I think at this point we will start already. Okay,
okay, so I have a surprise for you at the end. Nothing material, but it's a challenge. Okay, so I would like to start. Good morning, everyone. This is my presentation, Strengthening Science, Technology, and Innovation Through Partnerships, exploring collaboration between DOST and the PAASE. Actually, the first portion of this will just refresh the memories of PAASE members what our mandates are, because sometimes we assume that everybody knows what we are doing. Okay, so the next slide will start to show that. So I'm requesting, help. So these are the things that we are supposed to do, and we are devoting our resources, our time, shall we say, manpower for all of this. So we have research and development, we have technology transfer and utilization. Okay, it doesn't matter whether the technology came from us or from outside or from other people. Productivity through technology for the different sectors, whether it is in the agriculture, manufacturing, services sector, science and technology services, and you will see what we mean by that later on. The human resource development in science and technology, and of course, in the last decade, we have really put more attention to disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation. Next slide, please. we starts by letting you know that we follow for R&D in a harmonized national research and development agenda. It is approved at the beginning of the term. So we came in 2016, and before we were able to come to a consensus among all agencies, including the private sector, what should be the priority R&D in the R&D agenda for the Philippines during the term of this administration. These were the agenda that was agreed upon. We still divide it according to our traditional categorization, where we have the basic research, we have health, we have agri, we have industrial, energy, and emerging technologies. And this is supposed to be approved by the cabinet, by the NEDA. Okay, and of course that is the whole cabinet. And so this was approved in early 2017. I guess that was in February 2017, and we followed this quite strictly. Next slide, please. Now, for R&D programs, I just would like to focus on, shall we say, sample programs, where we are now putting a lot of emphasis. And the first one is the Science for Change program, which aims to accelerate the development and adoption of science, technology, and innovation by proportionately spreading funding across all regions for capacity building initiatives and for securing partnerships between the academe and industry for research and development. So we actually have a 4 component programs of that, the NICER, wherein we support the establishment and operation of what we call niche centers in the regions for R&D. And to date, I think maybe Yusek Geb has a better figure, but I think we have now around 27 niche research centers in the different regions of the country. We have covered already all regions, including BARM. Okay, and while the first batch of NICER centers were mostly in agriculture and life sciences, we now have niche research centers in other areas, actually starting from energy. Okay, and this will be the focus of our niche centers. I mean, the support to new ones will be more on the industry, energy, and emerging technologies area. But we also expect that there will be niche research centers that will focus on disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation. There is already one which is in the offing, and this has something to do with water resources and the corresponding problems that are associated with it. Then we have the Grants in Aid program, and this is where shall we say, the mention of proportionately spreading funding across the regions is relevant, because in the beginning, we had the GIA, 93% of GIA going to only 3 regions, NCR, Region 3, and Region 4A or Calabarzon. Okay, it has improved now. Okay, from 7% to the rest of the regions to 27% to the rest of the regions now. So we hope that that will still improve. And as more resources are given by government, of course, that will be, shall we say, better achieved. Next slide, please. Now we go to the technology transfer and utilization. And as I said, it doesn't matter where the technology comes from, whether it is coming from our R&D programs or R&D supported programs, or whether it's coming from our startup founders, or whether it's coming from abroad. Okay, so you can see here, I'm featuring photos of programs that I think belong to the technology utilization part. You have the technology business incubation program. I can see Dr. Serapika nodding, because STRIDE is also supporting all of these programs. And so we promote innovation and technopreneurship by supporting tech-based startups with a range of resources, services, and facilities needed during their startup stage. We have the technology Innovation for Commercialization, which fast tracks the transfer and commercialization of locally developed innovations and technologies through financial and technical support. Still, the bigger bulk of this is coming from our funded R&D results, but we also support those that are actually even, shall we say, the result of individual and non-government funded technologies or innovations, and also they qualify also for that. And then lastly, because we now have a law called the Innovative Startup Act. In fact, I think on December 22, we will be signing already the joint implementation or the joint guideline together with DTI and the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT, on the Startup Development Assistance Program. So now we have a law which now protects DOST. We will not be questioned by COA anymore if we give support to these young people who are from the private sector. Okay, next slide, please. Here, actually, it has been going on for quite a long time, but I wanted to put emphasis on it. So I am, shall we say, putting it as a separate mandate alongside with R&D, with technology transfer and the rest. And this is productivity through technology. We have around 99% of our enterprises are still in the micro, small, and medium category, and they really need a lot of upgrading in terms of technology, in terms of productivity through technology. So I cite here two, shall we say, relatively long-running programs, more than 10 years, maybe 15 years already, and we are helping here the enterprise sector as well as the communities that are actually engaged also in productive activities. So the small and medium enterprise technology upgrading program, actually we give them the capability to acquire technology, software, hardware, in very, shall we say, soft terms. Okay, and we have the community empowerment through science and technology, which actually has interventions both in terms of health, education, nutrition, water and sanitation, disaster risk reduction, but more importantly, for sustainable, shall we say, development and enjoyment of these benefits, they need also technology-based livelihood projects in the community, whether as a group or as individuals working on small projects. Next slide, please. Then, of course, the science and technology services. After R&D, we have the services. I just focused here on new approaches that we are having. We provide laboratory services. We have 22 laboratories all over the country, 7 national laboratories, and 15 regional laboratories. And so we actually came up with the system of harmonizing testing laboratories and ensuring and broadening access to testing and calibration through an IT-based platform. So wherever you are, you can submit your sample. Even if the test is not available there, we will take care of the logistics. You can get the results where you want it. And because of this, actually we have attracted, I think, more than 10 private laboratories and 3 laboratories from other countries, specifically Thailand and Vietnam, to join under one lab facility. The one store, of course, we are all very much engrossed now with Lazada, etc. But maybe little is it known that for the last 5 or so years, we have been running an online platform called One Store. Originally, it was intended to help our beneficiaries under the Small Enterprise Technology Upgrading Program to help them market through online e-commerce platform. Later on, the firms assisted by DTI were also taken in, were allowed to join here, provided there are certain requirements as to registration, FDA, etc. Now it is open not only to those, but to every MSME who wants to join us. And while in the beginning it was mostly focused on food, okay, it has now expanded to cover healthcare products and other products as well. It is good that the Department of Agriculture has started to patronize this, starting with the Region 2, where our DOST Region 2 and the DA Field Office Region 2 agreed that the supply for the Kadiwa centers will be forwarded through one store. And we also have the commitment from the private logistics providers, the big ones, to serve us in one store. Recently, Region 6 has already sealed an agreement in the same way as Region 2. DOST Region 6 and DA Field Office Region 6 have signed a similar agreement to do online through DOST. Now, the one expert is something very, shall we say, important to be heard by our PAASE members, particularly those who are not in the Philippines, because this is really improving access to services of our experts located anywhere in the Philippines, but we can expand it anywhere in the world. Okay, so our clients, whether these are the university researchers, or whether these are the inventors, or whether these are the young startups, or whether these are the existing enterprises, they can access services under one expert. So of course, yung mga arrangements between them, okay, can be discussed. Okay, and now let's go to the next slide. Still extending our S&T services just by photos. I just want to show an ever-expanding facility in testing. So we now have the ADMATEL, the Advanced Materials Testing Laboratories. We have now the Electronic Products Development Center. And now we are coming up with the Advanced Manufacturing Center, which can also do testing. And here we have, of course, packaging. Okay, let me just give you a small story. Of course, this is Christmas time. I was wondering what to give to the fellow cabinet members. So I asked for Inabel blankets from our Region 1. So I bought enough for the people I wanted to give them. And then my assistant said, let's have it packaged by our packaging center. Ask their help for packaging. Naku, napakaganda ng nilabasan. Okay? I don't know whether it is the packaging or the blanket, but never did I expect that my fellow cabinet members, even those who are suplado, text me thanking very much about the blankets. Hindi naman siguro yung packaging lang. Anyway, training is of course very important service. It is not under the scholarship category. These are the training that we give to entrepreneurs, to their technology people, even to their workers, okay, on the use of technologies. Next slide, please. Now, very important in delivering our services actually is the Balik Scientist program, where Filipino scientists, technologists, and experts are encouraged to help our country and to share their expertise to promote scientific, industrial, and economic development, including the development of human capital. I inserted it here because our Balik Scientist does a very important service, okay, SMT service, and we have now seen some of them starting as short-term Balik Scientists, gradually transitioning to medium-term Balik Scientists, and then finally to having people like Dr. Serapica and Dr. Saludes and Dr. Dalisay, who are permanently settling down and helping us run the centers in the universities and in other places for very, very good results. Thank you. Next slide, please. We have the Human Resource Development Program. Again, this is an area where our PAASE members, whether here or abroad, can extend help. and it is easy to imagine how to help this. So we have our Philippine Science High School. Now, our high school system in the Philippines has a senior high school, shall we say, category. And the senior high school, particularly at the Philippine Science High School, they do a lot of research. Okay, today in my DOST report, I am reporting about 3 students. They have graduated recently from the Philippine Science High School in Central Visayas. Okay, this is in Cebu, and they recently got a patent, not a utility model or industrial design, a patent, okay, for an invention that they have, which is an output of their research. It has something to do with, of course, smart agriculture. Next is the Science Education Institute, which is delivering scholarships. Today, we are now administering more than 40,000 scholarships all over the country. The biggest bulk is in the BS category. Uh, uh, and you will be surprised. When I came in 2016, the number of scholarship applications per year at that time was around 30,000, and we were giving out 5,000 slots. Today, okay, problema pa nga kung paano. Hindi ko alam kung paano mag-exam o walang exam or whatever. But there are 160,000 applicants to the DOST undergraduate scholarship. And we will be able to take 15,000. And then we have, of course, the MS and PhD scholarships. Later on, you will see that we have different categories of that. And the joint scholarships and research programs. Because of the very active, shall we say, work or intervention of our international, our Office for International Collaboration, headed by Assistant Secretary Leia Buendia, we have forged bilateral collaboration, bilateral agreements with the countries that we have targeted. Okay, so we are almost able to achieve it. We just limited it to 20. Okay, and now we are on the 18th already. And one of the common features of this is the availability of scholarships in those countries of our choice. And in here, the good thing is that there are also partnerships with universities. For example, in Canada, our partnership is between the Science Education Institute and the University of Alberta. Okay, some of the scholarships are not exactly giving full support, but for example, in the case of the University of Alberta, they just committed, okay, that they will just charge, okay, our scholars with the fees of they charge to their citizens, which is really very, very reasonable. Let's move to the next slide. The next slide is in the area of disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation. While all of our regional offices are involved here, let me cite the very important role of PAASE, our weather bureau, PBOX, okay, which is taking charge of the of our tawag dito, yung ating mga volcanoes and our earthquake and our landslides and all these kinds of disasters. And then we have the ASTI, the Advanced Science and Technology Institute, and because of their advancements on computing technology, they're able to provide a lot of information through GIS, through remote sensing, through artificial intelligence and data science to provide maps and other information for disaster risk reduction application. The next slide will give you an idea. Next slide, please. So, for example, PBOX has led in the development of the Hazard Hunter PH app, okay, which is the country's one-stop shop for hazard assessment, whether it is flood or landslide or volcanoes or tsunami, etc. And then at the middle, you can see an example of the tools that PAASE uses in delivering information as warnings. Okay, the typhoon tracker. Okay, I send this to cabinet members every time there is a typhoon, and they really appreciate it. And then the DOST, which is This is the result of our Advanced Science and Technology Institute's work using remote sensing and now using satellite data. They can produce very good geospatial outputs. Next slide, please. Now, what can the American Academy of Science and Engineering, PAASE, do to help us? It is based on the what PAASE is saying, that they have a strong cadre of human resources contributing to the promotion of science and technology and innovation towards the development of the country. They are a committed partner to promote science for the people, to education, information dissemination, entrepreneurial activities, and commercialization, and the alignment of priority areas under the DOST Harmonized National Research and Development Agenda. Next slide, please. Now, going back to the Balik Scientist program, just in case some of our PAASE members who are in the US and who might want to serve under the Balik Scientist program, we have different categories, okay? Short term, medium term, and long term under the law. And what are the two things that the law has done to improve it? Well, actually three things. It has institutionalized the program. Okay, so whoever the secretary of DOST will be, there will be a Balik Scientist program. Number two, there is an improvement in the procedure. Okay, so the red tape, okay, has been hindi naman sabihing eliminated, hopefully eliminated, but definitely reduction in the requirements in terms of processing. And number three, of course, is improvement in the incentives. Okay, next slide, please. We just have operationalized now operating 2 years. Okay, our Science for Change program in the category of RD lead. Okay, so I mentioned earlier the program NICER, where we are supporting niche research centers in the regions. We also have a twin program for that, the RD lead. Many of these universities and centers in the different regions still need help in planning out their R&D, in strategizing and addressing the different challenges in doing R&D. And our national experts, well, at the moment, they are actually Philippine-based, are doing a lot to help them. Okay, and so we are continuing with this program, expanding it next year. This year, we were able to help 31 institutions. I think 32 institutions with 31 RD leads. And next year, we will be doubling that. Actually, para sila ding balik scientists, no? And they can stay for as long as 6 months. Marami sa kanila ay mga retired na rin or are, shall we say, operating on their own. You know? They have their own outfit, okay? And so they can stay for quite some time in the places where they want to help. Okay, so you can see the sample faces. They are very familiar. So you have, to me, the most familiar is academician Nemesio Montaño, si Coke. Okay, so he retired from the Marine Science Institute, and of course the younger ones you can see on the right side. Let's move on to the next one. This is a new program which we have started, which is still on the strategy of inclusive development. We have actually commissioned a study at the School of Urban and Regional Planning of UP under their foundation called Planades. And actually, I had asked them to do it about more than 2 years ago because of our concern for how LGUs are planning for housing. Okay, housing is a very important aspect of living, and still a big problem. Okay, and so we asked them to do a model that initially addressed how to project growth in populations in the different regions, not only through natural growth rate, but also through migration from other regions or from Metro Manila. And they came up with a very good model, but they actually did more. They did a model that can help our local government units to plan the development, not only the human settlements aspects, but also the industrial and business development, including agricultural development through planning. And so we decided that we will utilize that model. When we asked them to carry out the training program, originally they had to do it through seminars and actual face-to-face encounters. They had planned to hold it for around 80 people. But when they opened it through virtual enrollment, they got more than 700 people at different batches. Okay, and the good thing about this is that it has identified the top provinces which are very imminent in terms of growth in industrial, business, and population wise. So we picked out the top 20, and we are now deploying researchers, scientists, and engineers to help the governors or the provincial boards to incorporate science and technology in their planning framework. Okay, so we have a best pioneer example in the person of Dr. Alvin Culaba, who is your member, and he of course chose the province of Leyte, okay, which the governor of which is very interested in cooperative, and maybe later on in another occasion, Dr. Kulaba can relate to you his experiences under this. So remember, we are promoting here the top 20 provinces, but we included 2 or 3 from regions that were not included in the top 20, just to have representation from all regions. Next slide, please. The capacity building programs can come in different categories. So the so-called mentorship program, mentoring a new generation of researchers, scholarship, conceptualizing and facilitating the development of joint scholarship programs, just like I said, in the University of Alberta and some other, ano pa yung isa? Saskatchewan in Canada. And we have, of course, the sandwich and internship programs. Here, I think one good example was the great work done by Dr. Gobet at Vincula in terms of developing our young people here in the area of advanced manufacturing technologies. Okay, so the internship program that he had, and of course, yun ang mga sandwich program, we have this in different countries, not only in the US. We have a big number in Taiwan, in Japan, and also in the UK. Now, the other one would be the, okay, this is study, natatakpan ng aking, ano, the student faculty researchers exchange program. Usually this is covered by bilateral agreements, but our Filipino scientists based in the country can help us a lot. Next slide, please. So the advisory program, you can enroll PAASE members to the One Expert services. They can help DOST promote our programs where research scientists and engineers, DOSTs, and agencies in the US can collaborate, engaging PAASE members as resource persons for various projects of the DOST, as well as in its learning events. Ngayon nga pala, yung Balik Scientist, pwede ng virtual, yung short term. Engage PAASE members to specific initiatives to help solve a problem, improve processes, capacity building, and others, and facilitate benchmarking activities with US-based research and development institutions. I was also thinking baka po pwede rin sila to be members of technical working groups in our councils. Next slide, please. Joint workshops and learning events. Okay, definitely our PAASE members are already helping in this. Next slide, please. And this is the surprise, President Giselle. We are proposing a memorandum of understanding between the Department of Science and Technology and the Philippine American Academy of Science and Engineering. I will not go over this in detail. You can discuss this lengthily at another time. We are, of course, designating Yusek Guevara and Assistant Secretary Buendia, who are in charge of our international cooperation activities, to take a look. And wala namang ano dyan, there are no financial, no mention of financial obligations in here. This is a memorandum of understanding that will cover specific projects that we will undertake. Specific projects will have specific agreements. So this is initially for a duration of 3 years. You can recommend a different time frame, but this is really our, shall we say, challenge to PAASE. I know we will accomplish a lot. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Fantastic, Secboy. You make our day with your proposed MOU. Let us give Secboy a rousing round of applause. Everyone, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you. President Giselle, forgive me, but I have to attend to a Zoom interview in media. Okay.
Well, so we are volunteers who are willing to serve the country in any way we can. And
our council members, Yusek, ASEX are there. And just Yusek Geb, Yusek Rene, Yusek Bren, and our council heads can still stay on.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you so much, and thank you for your very comprehensive presentation. So I just wanted to tell you, Gab, and our executive directors, and let me tell you that former USEC Ami Guevara is also here, that PAASE is a volunteer organization. At least that's my own thinking. It's the spirit of volunteerism for science, for the people, that we would like to promote in PAASE. So there are many ways to do it. If COVID did not come in, Yusek, we would have gone on this Balik Kasabayan Mo, Tayo Na program, where, Alvin Colaba and others were already going to host in their regions these 1 week R&R and R&D visits. And I thought that would be a good way to know what it is that we can help with, especially our foreign-based PAASE members. So we are here to help. And so now we have from the DOST Secretary Boy, many ways that we can help. And Yusek Gab, we hope that we can get the templates for this. How do we apply? How do we move forward to the implementation stage? Because we are sincerely, genuinely wanting to help. So I am going to pass on the co-hosting or the moderation of this discussion to my co-hosts, Alsa Rafika and CP David. Okay? So I hope everyone has a chance to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Giselle. Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'll take on the privilege, I guess, of being the host to ask the first question. Usually the mole. Then I'll let everyone take a crack at it. The order right now of the questions as we received in the chat is CP, and then Joel, and then Tito. But my question is, as you know, I've always been about technology commercialization, USEC Geb. And definitely I did propose it to the National Academy, to NAS, to form a National Technopreneurship Center. May it be virtual, with all sectors fully represented, not just ICT. I usually say what sectors are ahem: agriculture, health, energy, environment, materials. But these are specific sectors of society that has ongoing technology development that is being developed for partnership with industry. I know we do have specific endeavors in all of the councils already, but this is more focused on the last mile, as you always say. But this is the meeting of assessing their investment readiness, as well as, technology readiness is a given, but investment readiness for private sector uptake. This is when they have their own SEC registration, they have their Series A financing already, or just a regular angel financing, but more to prepare them to the next stages of what technology transfer translation. So this is my next stage out of the university to a spin-off and then ready for professional investment. So my question is there a possibility or there a unification where there's a one-stop virtual location within the OST or within NAST of a technopreneurship with sectors available for them to be part of a meeting between the various sectors and potential advisors and investors and industry partners? That's my question. And then we can fill it up with PAASE members as well who are interested, like Gobet and additive manufacturing, me in health and other areas, and Joel in urban agriculture. So that can be a almost like a good venue for or focus on the last mile, technopreneurship and getting private investment, because that's the area now that I'm wanting to focus in next year. Thank you. This is for USEC Gev and whoever is in the sectors, if you think there's a possibility of doing it within the councils.
What exactly did you call it, Al?
The National Technopreneurship Center.
I would like to counter that with a network of our TBIs.
Yes.
Yeah, because with the start of our implementation for the innovative startups next year.
Okay.
So currently we have TBIs as what we call startup enablers.
Yes.
So if we pull them all together and create the ecosystem for innovation, then that is going to do it. Rather than creating something new, let's start with what is existing and then connect them all together. That I can promise you we can make happen next year.
Yeah. Because the challenge for us, Gev, like for me, I counsel health. I counsel some areas in advanced materials. I encountered them in UP or in De La Salle and some areas in MSU IIT. But right now, if I were to do a one sector matching for my fellow PAASE members, like say, who's interested in urban agriculture? We have Joel Coelho who's looking at that for the last 10 years. Being able, because the TBI doesn't distinguish, they have to fill in the data from the TBIs in terms of what portfolio they have in their respective TBIs that may benefit from a counsel from an expert. Yes.
Currently, binibuild na yung online matrix niyaan. Tinatapos lang, pinagawa ng P-shared.
Oh, perfect.
So it will be finished by next year. So there's a one site where you can go, and pag tinype mo yung sector, lalabas lahat dapat ng mga startups about that.
That's exactly what
and then doon naman sa the DOST project information system, lahat ng mga researchers na nag-a-apply, kailangan na nila ngayon sabihin anong sector sila. So you can also find them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Ano yan? Turo sa amin yan ni CP.
CP, ikaw pala may promotor niyan eh. Okay, ikaw na. Thank you.
Utos lang sa akin ni Ma'am Gab yan. Val Reyes is raising his hand. I'll give you the floor, Val.
Yes. Merry Christmas to everyone. I have a question on the national agenda that was presented early on. I think it's a 5-year agenda. The first part is, to what extent is industry involved in creating that agenda? And second, is there an information database that breaks this down into more specific needs that researchers from industry and academe can sink their teeth into and guide them in choosing their researches?
Thank you for that question, Val. We did industry consultation, and then because our councils, the 3 councils, PSHEARD, PICARD, PCHRD, have private sector representatives. So they were part of the group that created this Harmonized National R&D Agenda. And then it's a 90-page agenda. At the very last pages, you will see the roadmap for each of the sector. So if you're a researcher or you're a private sector, you want to engage us, and you will just look at the year and you will know what we're supposed to be doing for that year, for that particular sector.
So as a follow-up, Yusek Gev, in terms of the overall delivery of services of DOST. I know that there's a big push in terms of automation, and I'm sure I'm aware that USAID Stride is also helping you in this. How's the experience in terms of migrating everything? Everything is in a database, and all the transactions are online.
Um, because of the pandemic, it was perfect for us. When we opened our call for proposals in April, May, and June, we received 888 proposals in our online system. Of course, it meant sleepless nights for the councils. Like Pishir, they had to deal with 400 proposals in 40 days because we promised to deliver the result in 40 days. So it was really hard. And that is the reason why we are changing it a little bit for next year. So we're instead of 1 year before, we're gonna be going 2 years before. So by next year, I think July, August, September, we will be evaluating projects for 2023. And because of our experience the first time that we did it this year, we have requested USAID Stride to help us analyze our system so that we can do it better the next time around.
Thanks, Yusek Gav. There's a question in the chat box from Mario Santo Domingo. Is there a sort of like a clearinghouse that collects educational outcomes from scholarship programs in a way parang tracking system?
Science Education Institute of DOST does that.
And related to that, when we did a PIDS study on S&T human capital development, I think we are producing a good number already of scientists and engineers, but somehow we still lack a lot of MS and PhDs in the faculty roster of our SUCs and higher education institutions. Did you take on this burden as well as DOST, to help that improve?
That's a very good question, Dr. CP. Ang galing din ng CHED kasi they were on to the faculty members early on, mga 4 years ago. Na-discover nila na nag-MBA ang mga faculty members in lieu of the master's degree rather than taking on the Master of Science in Chemistry or so on. So they came up with the requirement na bawal na yon. They have to take, they call it vertical integration. So in about siguro another 3 years, maaayos na yung SUCs natin.
Thank you. So Joel Coelho has a question. Joel, please.
Yes, Yusek Gav, hi. Good morning to you. My question is about the TBI, Technology Business Incubation Program of the OST, which is really commendable. But I realized that DTI has its own program, I think one of which is the Technology Entrepreneurship Acceleration Program. Is there a conversation in terms of joining forces to make this effort and initiative really much more powerful and well-funded and more consequential?
Thank you for that question, Dr. Joel. Yung sinabi kanina ni Secretary na Joint Administrative Order, it is for a steering committee consisting of DOST, DTI, and DICT for the Innovative Startup Act, which will do exactly what you just described. So the JA will be signed next week, and we'll start working in January. Thank you.
That's exciting. Thank you.
Okay, Hill, you have a question? Hill Mendoza, go ahead. Okay, parang there's a problem. There's a problem with his internet connection. Any more questions? Ako, I have a question pero medyo off tangent eh. Hindi siya related pa sa ano.
CP, can I just...
Go ahead, Val. Sige.
Yeah, it's sort of a follow-up. You give the agenda is only up to 2022. Does that imply that it could change with the change in administration?
Val, it is meant to change with the change in administration. But the way that we do things in government now, just to assure you, we have what's called the forward budget estimates. So whatever agenda we have until 2022, and these are multi-year projects that go all the way to 2025, unstoppable na yon. So if a new administration comes in by June 2022, they will have time to come up with the 2023 to 2030 agenda by the end of the year of 2022. And so they can do that.
I'm thinking more in terms of
Oh,
whether
I forgot,
the items,
sorry.
yeah.
I forgot. We have commissioned the National Academy of Science and Technology to come up with a foresight study that will do the 30 to 50 year agenda.
Yeah. Because I was thinking that, the needs, the specific needs could shift depending on, the perspective of the current administration. And again, that
Exactly.
might, and the research takes about 5 years to work on. And by that time, if the priorities change, then it creates a new direction.
Well, I was tasked on the trade and the business side of the last foresight, and we are exactly doing the rounds next year. I contacted Coco Alcoas, MAP, and you are with Risa with us at the PAASE meeting. All of the industry input that you're asking for, we'll hope to be able to collate that next year.
That's great.
January. Starting with Urfi. Urfi will be the
That's
first.
good to know.
Di ba? Oh, buo ka na dito.
Question, Giselle here. Can foreign-based PAASE members be co-proponents of proposals as part of direct foreign investments? Would you consider including this under the DOST PAASE MOU?
Giselle, that is a very touchy subject matter because the guidelines of DOST grant in aid specifically requires Filipino. And based on the duties of a project leader or program leader, they have to be present in the Philippines.
Right.
So that is a requirement. Having said that, the projects, there is a position there, pangit lang ng pangalan, project staff ang tawag nila. Sorry, no? But that is the name right now, wherein they can engage PAASE members to do that. The other way would be to be a balik scientist. Yun talaga ang way. Kasi pag balik scientist ka, you can be involved in a project. Okay. Pero yung co-proponent, right now, hindi talaga namin siya nagagawa because of the law. We can only give funding to Filipinos right now.
So, well, they would not...
Ang exempt lang, balik scientist.
Okay. So, kailangan ng physical presence.
Yes. Although sabi nga ni Secboy, the balik scientist during the pandemic, allowed siyang online for the short term.
Okay. So iba lang, hindi lang co-proponent, pero ang contribution pwedeng major. Meron akong second question, Gev. Kasi yung Batangas State, yung meron na nung knowledge technology.
KIST.
Oo, KIST. You know, that is part of our plan then with Joel Coelho. We know we're creating already the STI ecosystems with your facilities, your fab labs and R&D centers in the provinces, no? Pero I think based on the experience of Taiwan and Korea, diba, yung mga PESA zones na mga science parks na malapit sa mga leading universities in the country, those work well because they attract industry investors into innovation projects. Meron bang planong ganon with PESA? Or
the KIST is part of the PESA plan. The only problem is the uptake from the universities. And then medyo may misunderstanding pa dun sa ibang universities. Akala nila sila yung magtatayo ng KIST. Actually, it's PESA na magtatayo ng KIST because PESA attracts the industry locators. So medyo alignment pang kailangan nila. But it's there.
So, Gav, you might know that during our time as in Quezon Hall, we proposed this already to PESA and very open Director De Lima. And then we came up with a position paper and then we requested the Deans of Engineering and Science whether they were open to it. And they said at the time, no, we can't do commercialization of UP Diliman. So I think IRFD might have an important role in trying to convince maybe the current Dean of the College of Engineering and then our Dean of Science to reconsider. Kasi kung sa Diliman yun, di nandun na yung Ateneo, malapit ang UST, malapit, nandun of course yung UP Diliman ang experts natin, no? So,
Dr. Giselle, now
I
that you mentioned that, one of
Oh.
the last things that I wanted when I was the dean of the college was to declare PAASE, declare as PEZA zone, yung engineering complex.
oh, imagine that. Yan din yung balak
Hindi lang namin nagawa.
Sinabi ko na yun din ang idea, Gav, na yung ERDT plus yung National Science Complex, yan lahat part of the PEZA zone. So maybe it's time to push that kasi it works in other countries. Diba?
Yeah, I support that very much.
Yes. But it's not only in Metro Manila kasi meron na dyan, MSU IIT or say Batangas State U or Mariano Marcos State U. So I think we have to choose nga those leading SUCs in different regions of the country at supportahan natin that way.
Dr. Giselle, in fact, yung KIST guidelines, DOST ang gumawa nun for PEZA.
Fantastic. Kaya nga, we're very proud of it and we want to support it. So I think,
let's do a study on that, no? Because there's also a flip side to being a PEZA, because it's an export zone, no? And therefore limited yung local marketing ng products. No? Anyway, we'll do a study for that.
That's a variation that I think Gav and I had talked about already before regarding getting not just export, but because ang consumers, mga Pilipino, 109 million, we have to produce products for the local market and for the export market. So that can be para bang modified. No more new laws, basta i-modify na lang yung mga existing ones. Implementation na lang, no?
Sige, let's study that. Tito Aliga has a question related ba? Go ahead.
I just wanted to comment. Actually, the first one was related to PESA, etc., etc. And I was looking at the experience of Batangas State, si Tirso. We know him very well. And he's the guy who will work on the grassroots, talk with the industrial estate, not PESA, the industrial estate around his campus. And doon inaayos yung mga arrangement. So and then later on it comes to the radar of national government, it may be adopted, it may not be. But at least Batangas State University has established connections with the industrial estates in their localities. So that's one. So it's really a grassroots activity that we need to look at. And then of course later on, if it's useful, then we can adopt a national plan or etc. But that comes next. It's not the first step. It's the next step that enables the proliferation of such kinds of work. The second one I wanted to talk about is like our focus on what we call supercharging the countryside Carabaos. This is the work now of the DOST, and I like it very much, Gav, because you have put experts in the regional offices that are accessible to the communities in the regions. Whereas before, many years ago, all of them were bunched in the central office. But now they're scattered all over the Philippines. So a guy from Ilocos Norte doesn't have to come to Manila. He goes to the regional office, maybe in La Union or in Mariano Marcos in Batak, and they get the help. So I think this is what I would call again supercharging the Carabaos in the countryside. It's not one big company, but several small companies, SMEs in the regions. So it's a very practical approach. And that also encourages the local professors to get involved because it is their own area. So wala na mag-MBA dyan. They will go into Carabao growing, cabbage growing, etc. Because it's in their own community.
Is there a program from Picard related to supercharging our Carabaos?
The one that is most related would be the NICER that was mentioned by Secboy. We have
Where is the NICER center for Carabaos?
PCC kasi yan. Hindi mo na yan pwedeng palitan. Pero nakakabit sila with the CLSU in Nueva Ecija. So ano na yan, ayos na sila. Pero yung sinasabi ni Tito, kunyari, pag inisip mo na citrus, Nueva Vizcaya State University.
Correct,
pag inisip mo yung sea cucumber, Naawan in Mindanao. So may mga ganun na. And hopefully in the next 10 years, they will become national centers. Yung mga ginawang NICERs. Thank you.
Or again, set up also a Carabao Center in Bukidnon, etc., etc. So it's not just one area.
We
So
have a cattle R&D center in CMU.
I see. Okay. So
I just want to recognize former Secretary Ernie Pernia, who is also with us in the Zoom room. Hi, Secretary.
Yes, hi. Hi.
Hello,
Al, you were raising your hand. Oh, quick question, Al.
Ano, just to add the component on the KISS, kasi I've been approached, we spoke about it about a year ago with Tirso Ronquillo, and I approached Tito Gili Lochanco, who has a bunch of industrial parks around Batangas State. And we went through the details exactly on what would it take for private sector to donate a land and to make an arrangement in terms of what would be the expansion, and their locators as well, specific to the industries that they're locating in their particular industrial state. Tito Gili is ICCP Ventures, who did Laguna Light Industry Park, as well as a host of others. And I know the business group, and I talked to them, but it's the meeting of the minds that clearly that needs to be happening for us to be able to talk to them. What is the product and what is the specific arrangement that we can come up with that's as a value to them, not to us, but to the industry. That's the difficult.
There's clearly an advantage of locating your industries, specific industries, right beside your university.
Correct.
And I think the nicer program partly answers that. And hopefully, after doing the research, more industries actually locate near these centers. Tama ba, Yusek Gab?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think,
Go ahead, Ma'am Giselle.
I'm sorry. I think we can move to the mentoring part. So things are moving on that end because we have to push and we have to pull. So for the mentoring and education part, Gav, we really want to help at the junior to senior high school level and the freshman and sophomore levels in terms of education materials. I mean, this is my challenge to PAASE. Hindi gumawa tayo ng mga teaching materials na high quality in the different courses or disciplines. No, that's one. Very doable yan eh. Okay, but we need, I think, guidance from the SEI and from the PSI. Secondly, I think we already know that Stride and PAASE will partner in academic leadership training. Di ba, laging sinasabi, yung administrative, yung bureaucratic impediments, yun ang sa researcher, nakaka-discourage sa researcher. So, meron na tayong mga training dyan from National University of Singapore, for example. So, gagawin yan with the Stride. And then I think under the Tuklas Lunas program, and some of us have already individually conducted what we call certificated training workshops, say R&D, learn certain protocols in the lab for 2 weeks, merong conceptual, pero meron talagang hands-on. And then afterwards, bibigyan ng certificate that would be recognized, say, by the DOST. And I think I told ED Jimmy about this before. We conducted one on DNA barcoding and then also on mammalian culture and cytotoxicity testing, yung ganon. Tapos, lumalaki ngayon yung pare-pareho yung quality. And I think this has been in the Tuklas Lunas. Maybe we can ask Ami, former USEC Ami Gav and Jimmy to talk about this a bit.
USEC Gav needs to leave in 5 minutes. So are there any leftover questions before we move to Jimmy? I don't know if Director Jimmy is still here.
I guess the question of Ma'am Giselle to DOST and to USEC Gav is, are you ready as a department to dip your hands into primary and secondary science education? Obviously, DepEd needs a lot of help in this aspect, but we can't just cross the border and do our own thing. Meron bang way that DOST can do something about dismal performance?
We are actually already doing it. Meron tayong teacher training. Tapos ngayon dahil pandemic, mas lumawak kasi pwede na online, mas maraming pwedeng mag-attend and they can be all over the country. And then meron kaming technology na ini-introduce with the help of the Philippine Space Agency. Kasi yung internet access, kailangan din nila eh. So we are trying to work that out. Ang utos ni Presidente, gamitin yung mga TV frequencies to do that. And so ASTI and PhilSA, our Philippine Space Agency, are working to do that. Now, in the long term, talagang we can only produce more and more science and engineering, science teachers who have masters and PhD. And we have a scholarship program exactly for that at DOST.
Can I, yeah.
Yes, sir, Colonel.
Can I say something? Yes, we're talking about primary and secondary basic education, right? Is this about basic education, primary and secondary? Sorry.
Yes, Sec.
Yeah.
We have to
So,
start at that
yeah.
level.
To what extent is the Bernido Dynamic Learning Program being used? Because that dynamic learning program is not teacher incentive. It is exercise incentive. And the exercises are already, they already have modules for those exercises. And so, and from the reports I get, the outcome of the dynamic learning program in terms of high school graduates, they are doing very well in terms of moving on to tertiary level education. So why for heaven's sake is not DOST taking advantage of this innovation by the Bernido couple? Are we trying to be uh, we have to be different from them, or sometimes that is our problem. We don't want to adopt something that has been invented by somebody else because we want to show identity. I think that is not a good culture among us. We have to adapt whatever works. Okay, so let us be pragmatic, because we have a huge problem of educating so many school children, all over. And that is because we have a lot of children coming into the stream every year. And so we really need a solution that can handle the huge number of children in the basic education level to be trained. Okay?
Yeah,
So
thank you.
Can I have an answer on that question?
Well, I mean, Jeb just had to go, but I'm part of the ERDP board. If I am correct, CP, correct me if I'm wrong, but the DepEd is the key agency collaborating with Chris and Marivic Bernido on DLP. It hasn't rose to the level of the Philippine science system. I'm not sure why, but I know from a college level, it was implemented by my in-laws in the FINMA Education Network as a demonstration of its usability in the tertiary education.
Yes.
So my question would be more directed towards why is it not adopted in the Philippine science system? Maybe CP can inquire or answer if he knows.
Tama yun, Al. And actually, it will be a big favor for PAASE if Sec Ernie can do a proper introduction of PAASE, and not just the dynamic learning program of the Bernidos, but because we have an entirely complete package of intervention, pero wala tayong kakilala sa DepEd.
Yes.
No. I mentioned this. I mentioned this DLP to Sec Liling Briones when I was still in the cabinet, but she was not too infused about it. So I think we need a little bit of Liling is Briones is kind of I would not I don't mean to be insulting, but he is kind of outmoded na, and we really need somebody in the DepEd who's still more imaginative and innovative,
dynamic,
and somebody who is receptive to to methodologies, modalities of education that are pragmatically effective. So
I don't know.
that's my point.
Ning is the NRCP Executive Director. I don't know if we've initiated academician Chris Bernido to a counterpart in the DepEd. I know they are interacting, Sec Ernie already, because I did specifically ask Chris Bernido about it, because I'm also part of a system foundation with Cheryl Monterola funded by Unilab, just to convert chairmanship on that, just to address education specifically. And they were giving us money on where to do the modeling. And that's clearly, this is probably one of the areas that we can consider demonstrating the value on the field testing capability of the DLP of Chris and Marivic Bernido.
Okay, I'll help you push this. I'll work with you to push this thing. Just to just to be able to get something, some good outcomes soon. I mean, let's not wait too long. I mean, our problem, there are too many lags. Like
Yes.
Like in our spending program, there's a huge lag between budgeting and then what you call this, obligating, between obligating and disbursement, between disbursement and spending. Can you imagine? Bayanihan 2 still has a lot of money unspent. I mean, that's our problem. The spending program, as I have already said in a number of webinars of the Philippines, relative to the COVID crisis, for health as well as economic stimulus spending, is the lowest in ASEAN, 5.8%, versus Vietnam, which is still behind us. It's more than 10%. Indonesia also more than 10%. So the problem is actual spending is what matters.
Correct.
Of course, actual spending in the right places cannot be anywhere naman. So and
I think the foundation can accelerate or grease the path, if you want to call it that way, to demonstrate field usability and utilization, and then the government can follow when the disbursement and actual procurement happens. But the problem with the procurement system, as we said, is an equal challenge in its own.
Al, another example is this COVID of the vaccine, the Pfizer, nako, batagal na pala, yon, September pa, sabi ni Ambassador Romualdez, pero hindi nag-act ang DOH. It's really irritating, very annoying, and exasperating what's happening. There are just too many lags, too many delays in our actions.
Very frustrating.
But that's where we come in. We can unblock it, Sec Ernie. We'll try to do. We're not beholden to anyone. We're a volunteer organization.
Yes.
We can address that.
Let us be more active. Kasi, I mean, we have a strong foundation. I mean, people in PAASE have very high credibility, high the backgrounds and the the CVs are powerful. Let us be more aggressive in pushing the things. Okay.
Thanks, Ernie. I think our next step, Al, Giselle, and everybody, is to review the MOU draft that Tech Boy will provide us, and take advantage of that partnership so that we can insert PAASE as an institution, because everyone naman here has some engagement one way or another with DOST, but we want it institutionalized.
Right. That's
yes.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Let's help. Let's bolster DOST, and I hope Boy de la Peña will be receptive to it.
Always.
And again, examples of operationalization, guys. That's my. We need to stay relevant, and I mean, these are the issues that Sec Ernie is saying that are really the burning issues of today, and we have to keep at it. But I think Sec Boy really opened up a concrete plan moving forward with even sectors identified in the MOU. I was reading it, and everyone, please have a chance to comment about it when we circulate it after this meeting. Thank you very much.
So let us
forward.
Al, let us let PAASE inculcate virtuous impatience.
Yes.
The way government is doing things. I mean, I don't have any monopoly on that. I just want that. I just want that culture to be to spread. Kasi that is really a big problem, eh. And you know,
Yeah.
it's an underpinning problem, because it underpins a lot of things in terms of performance of and even corruption.
Yeah. Tito is equally
If I may,
impatient.
So, Sec
yeah,
Ernie,
if I may
advantage.
butt in.
Hi. Okay. I think Jimmy Montoya might be here. Would you like to speak now, Jimmy? But advantage of PAASE is our young members. We have many young
Yes,
energetic members,
that's
doers.
right.
Okay.
It's
So
it's a cross section of old people and younger people.
yes,
So
yes.
it's really intergenerational in
Yeah.
terms of strength.
And
If
we
I
can be around until we're really old.
That's right.
I think indeed, Jimmy is
if
still
I if I may
still
add, Giselle,
Anti-aging.
Secretary, I was talking about, I am the guy who always tries to be underground. And sabi ko nga dito, well, let's start by fixing the sick books. Kasi, our grade schoolers, high schoolers are suffering from reading sick books. So if we can just put some effort into that, then we have a good start on the ground level.
So
And then,
Ernie,
of course,
Tito,
passing comes in sa mga scientific, etc.
I'd like to add what the
Yeah.
Bernido said. The problem also with the basic education is the spiral. Okay? So wala yung very strict discipline education of the sciences or even the other disciplines. So spiral in the early grades and then naging formal lang, say in junior year, no? So we have to work towards revising that and being making it more disciplinal for math and science especially.
Yes, yes.
Are there any questions to Dr. Jimmy Montoya of the Health? I see Anne Villalobos still in the site. I know you've been helping Anne in the PCHRD efforts. Definitely, I would want the help, because there was a question from Rodel about our manpower in terms of the pandemic support, and it was never asked. May we ask Dr. Montoya, if he's still there, to ask what do you need at this point in time? I know it has changed from diagnostics to cure to now vaccines. I'm asking about the cold chain aspect. Do we need air conditioning experts to make sure that your vaccine gets delivered to the barrios with a portable container? Is that the need? We wanted to hear your demand from us. ED in terms of what we can do for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm listening to the discussions, but if I can just contribute a little from our experience in the health sector in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. We're very much involved in the priority strategy of government now is, aside from maintaining the current minimum health standards which are being enforced among communities, is the acquisition of the vaccine. We all know that the vaccine is not actually the be all and end all, but it's probably one of the most crucial components of making sure that the pandemic is under control. And as you rightfully mentioned, the programs are now being put in place. Primarily, I think most importantly at this point in time is the communication strategy. You probably know that been reeling from the Dengvaxia controversy a few years back. And a recent survey among Filipinos actually had an increase in confidence for vaccines, but not ideal. It only went up to as much as 55%, which means almost half of the population would want to be vaccinated at this point if a vaccine were available. But that was not the experience unique for the Philippines. It is, in fact, it's even worse in the US, wherein the confidence rate is actually much lower. But anyway, having said that, we are embarking on a massive communication campaign, making it understandable to each and every Filipino, considering that the president has repeatedly mentioned that a vaccine will be the key to assuming some sense of normalcy in the very near future. But of course, it's an exaggeration because vaccine, as I said, is not the be all and end all. But having said that, it just gives importance to how the value of vaccines. And logistics is a priority concern. Well, one thing going for us is because we're actually part of the COVAX facility, which is actually organized with WHO, with CEPI and Gavi, the Alliance for Vaccines Initiatives. We'll be provided assistance by the WHO with regards to availability of the cold chain. However, it is also important to mention that a number of the vaccines do not require the ultra freezer, the ultra low temperatures.
Yes.
You know, the inactivated viral vaccines wouldn't require it. The viral vectors to some extent will not require it. So it's just really the DNA and the RNA-based vaccines which would require it. But there's technology developments now going on in which lyophilization is being done to make this accessible, at least for maybe about 30 days, to make it available for 2 to 8 degrees, which is the normal refrigeration temperature.
Yes.
So those are the things, a lot of things happening. And I apologize for not being able to spend so much time here because, you know, it's the alumni homecoming of the UP College of Medicine today. And I'm one of the speakers. And we have actually alumni from overseas. So I have to move to the other venue. But I was listening into the discussions. And as I said, even if health was not that much involved in most of your discussions, we're actually learning from it. And we're also starting a similar venture, but more for the public good in the health sector. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ED Jimmy. Definitely, we'll look forward to more of our scientists.
Yeah, with all your help, and I hope to really converge more with the PAASE and because we really need your help. We're setting up the Virology Institute of the Philippines. So we're tapping already some of the foreign-based scientists in Australia, in the US, in Europe, helping us out. And we'd really like to ask for your help as well. So maybe we can converge in another, even by email, Giselle.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Well, 2 of those you invited are present today.
Yes.
Yeah. So we really value their contributions, and it's really a big help. Because this is a big venture that we're embarking on, and we just want to be sure that we're doing it right. Thank you very much.
Support the DOST Virology Institute, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Support it.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Okay. All right.
Anybody else in the audience that has a burning question to ask? I think we only have NAST Executive Director Ning Domingo here. If we wanted to affect policy to the national and elevate it to the National Academy, is there a question for us, PAASE members, the young ones especially? Just don't mention the P word. Oh, Elizabeth, I think Beth Lajos has a question.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I'm Beth Lajos. I'm the president of the Technological Institute of the Philippines. Mine is not really a question, but I would just like to help connect the dots as a stakeholder and as a beneficiary of the DOST Project Awards, and also as a friend of PAASE. You had me in a chat, in a fireside chat. I would like to reiterate my request and appeal that PAASE scientists can help us with the DOST projects that we are embarking on and that we have embarked on. They can help us as research collaborators, and as mentors. They can also help us as visiting professors. In fact, one in the room, Richard Abendan, we have a DOST project with Stride also. So I also would like to share that just like what one of us observed just now, we have learned so much. We have learned so much from this PAASE series, and I have tried to attend it almost all. And I could see that there's a wealth of experience to be gained and to be shared. And so I appeal to everyone because it's so easy now with online, the mentoring, the visiting professorship, and the research collaboration. So thank you to PAASE. It's been a great year with you.
Fantastic.
Okay, as a response, Beth, I am wanting to meet with your team next month already in terms of the technology commercialization. I haven't visited you for about 3 years now, I think. Since we did the Stride project on the remote charging, wireless charging of your technology. I believe your innovation center is up. Joe Cruz has been updating us in PAASE about your endeavors as well as your PSM, your industry leaning education for masters. And I think I can broadcast. I think that's probably one of the things that we can do, guys, as a group. Is we are scientists and we're being asked right now about our expertise in various areas. And I think being able to offer it and respond to appeal like Beth is appealing today is something that I think we could definitely begin the discussion. If not, there's no requirement right now for traveling and in person. So just a proper endorsement by Giselle. You guys are good to go. So I mean, you can Zoom right away. So I believe I'm just wanting a show of hands among our group who wants to help. And there's a call to arms by Beth. Just show your thumbs up, and I'll count you in on the Zoom. Is that good enough, Beth?
Yeah, thank you so much, Al and Giselle.
Beth, everyone is reachable now. Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
just send us the message. Where do you want expertise? And then we'll get the show of hands. What we need are warm bodies, but warm can be virtual initially, right? Until the better times. So I think at this point, it's 1.5 hours from when we started. It's a very insightful and dynamic discussion. And I'd like to invite everyone and our friends in PAASE to the Christmas get-together on December 22 at 9 a.m. Philippine time. I'd like to recognize also our researchers who are still in their labs or in the field. We have Michael Roleda of MSI, Vince Daria of Australian National University. Sorry if I missed some. Joey Ocon of ChemEng, UP Diliman. And we have Homer Pantua of Genentech in San Francisco. We have Vic Ilag, who was here a while ago. We have some others that Julius Liano, who just gave this very outstanding talk in our PAASE webinar series this morning. So CP, any last words from you, Al? And then we'll end here, but it's never ending. Beth, Sec Ernie, we're at it, okay? We are what you call academic, professional, and now personal friends. That's so important. Tito Ferds. Ferds de la Cruz was here, president of EarthD a while ago. Is he still here? Anyway, so CP, Al, I'm done.
I'm good. CP na. CP, I'm okay na. I've spoken
Well,
enough.
thank you everybody for attending this. Medyo mabilis lang yung time natin for this fireside chat, but it's a welcome opportunity for us to actually institutionalize our participation in DOST programs, no, with that MOU that SecBoy is asking us to review. So I think that's more than what we could ask for, no, from a 1 hour webinar.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
So thanks everybody.
Thank
you.
Thank
you. Thank you.
On Tuesday.
Holidays. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Tuesday, and you'll have some group singing and some trivia and games.
Okay, yeah.
Be light-hearted.
Yeah, we will. We look forward to that, President Giselle.
Thank you so much, Sec Ernie. Yeah, and yeah, you be our leader in the campaign in government and the private sector. Sec Ernie, we need you. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to marry PAASE with government, of course, with the private sector and other sectors, you know.
So we start with the private HEIs and look at TIP. Beth Laos is with us. So we can start there. That's private sector as well, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Investment.
Yes. Yeah. Let PAASE, Al and Giselle, let PAASE be a household word. Become a household word. Parang ano eh. Parang people can really, will really be aware of it.
Yes, so some surprises during the Christmas get-together. We'll show you some stuff, Sec Ernie.
Okay.
Merong mga sorpresa. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye-bye.
everyone. Thank
you.
Daniel, Beth. There are some mainstays. You're always with us. Mara, thank you.
My pleasure.
Yes.
Bye, Annie.
Barrientos. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.
Level de Peñas, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ami, thank you.
Bye,
So Beth,
Amy. Thank
promise.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
And now,
Thank you,
Bye,
ma'am.
Beth.
Thank
again,
you.
Bye
Morning,
bye.
everyone.
you're fantastic, Julius. I believe in you. I believe in you. Sabi nila kanina before we started, kailangan natin ng 100
Bye.
Julius. Kailangan
Oh,
natin
okay na.
i-multiply si Julius. Ha?
Pero
Sige.
himayin natin, Julius, yung trabaho mo. Masyadong marami.
Dami sir, di ba? We are everywhere.
Si ED Luningning, ngayon lang nag-on si Ma'am Luningning. Oh, Ning.
Kasi may mga sinasign na akong check nyo. Ayaw nyo?
Ma'am, kasama ba ako dyan?
Hindi po. Mga last members lang.
Ay, okay.
Ma'am, bye-bye. Merry Christmas po.
I'm still hoping
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Former Yusek Amiji would say something. Okay? Because she built many of the things going on in the DOST. Pero she must be busy doing other Zooms as well and other stuff. But anyway, thank you so much. Ayun na si Amiji. Amiji,
Well, I was, Giselle, I was tuned in all along.
Oh my God.
Except that I switched off my video because my internet is a bit unstable.
Okay. So
no, I heard everything.
Yeah, but we need your insights. We need your, wisdom. Sige, tell us.
Well, my only involvement now with DOST is with the Tuklas Lunas. That's
Okay.
all.
We need to what do you call this? Assess the Tuklas Lunas bucket, Ami, and we can help you on that one and complete the teams around on each of your priority listings. My difficulty has always been when I interact with the UP TTBDOs, they have their own buckets that they wanted to push through, and I work with them. But for me, it's more of a global. You have the global view, and your also your advisory capacity in terms of which one to go forward. Similar to what Secboy asked a while ago, Julius. As much as they want to give you money in PTRI, they also want you to focus because you can't be spreading yourselves too thin. And I believe that is a challenge for everybody, given that our budgets are cut. And right now, I'm not looking for government money anymore. I'm looking for private sector. And
I totally agree.
Wala na.
You have to bring together industry.
So it's high time that we in the private sector starts to put in. And that I have to put in my own money to be able to show I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm willing to do that if that's what will take.
I want to see that day.
Yes.
You're plenty of money. I want to see that day.
I'm doing that because I wanted to remain independent and be able to say that I'm not married to anyone. But
pero
maybe next year, this year has come.
Investment in a
Let's
technology.
do that. It would take. But I need you to tell me where you think is the best bang for our bucks from the private sector, because we need to show success in a very short term for model.
I'll be the first because you understand the technology best among the private sector. So pumili ka na ng iyong favorite, yung alam mong very high chance of success, and invest your personal money there.
No, I mean, Giselle, the way I'm doing it is that I wanted to make sure that there is an adapter. It cannot be me. Because if it's just I can't help anyone else. I can put
government and academia.
Wants to support Mel Palencia on their government.
The best showcase would be you making taya your own money. But anyway,
that's exactly.
Yeah, I wanted to tell Amiji, like, can we help institutionalize this training and make it more parang certificated training ng ating mga researchers in the leading souks in the country that are involved in the Tuklas? Kasi you already started it, di ba? They spend time, say, in UP Diliman or in UST or what. So, pwede naman gawin natin yan with the books that you have now. Tapos, pwede naman na yung mga leading researchers in the leading souks, talagang they get very well-trained in doing the Tuklas Lunas assays. So, anyway, some food for thought lang yon.
Yes,
Okay?
yes. Lahat ng mga 11 TLDCs, all the researchers have trained in UP Diliman in chemistry as well as in NIMBB. All for the cell-based assays as well as the cell-based toxicity assays and the enzyme-based assays. So all the 11 TLDCs have been trained, and in fact, we are setting up the assays in their
That's
in the
very
lab.
I mean,
Okay.
here, I meant to
Yes.
ask you a question. I mean, I'm in touch with Unilab now, and I had a chat with Joey Ochave about Prism in MSU-IIT. I was in MSU-IIT a year ago, and I saw Prism. I saw what you invested in Prism, and clearly there's a company that Unilab spun off to interact exactly with MSU-IIT and not UP and not UST. And I've been wanting to have a counter argument why not why not us in UP. And because I still believe the portfolio of Tuklas Lunas in UP is much bigger than the one in MSU-IIT, but industry decided to go with the smaller ventures mainly because of clarity of their policy and the ease of collaboration. Are we doing something to increase that access for collaboration for Tuklas Lunas? And if yes, what are our initiatives do you think?
Well, yes. Like for example, there were already 18 formulations that were developed last year,
I
and
saw
these
that
were,
in your presentation.
yeah, and they were pitched to industry, and I think there are 7 or 8 who became interested in this. But
Okay.
I think the good progress now is that we have already identified what we call the top tiers, per disease indication, and we are pursuing this. Some have been categorized to be pursued as herbal drugs. Some have been categorized to go through the drug track, and this also includes the pure compounds from Giselle's lab. So, so
wow,
we
I mean,
want.
that's fantastic news if that's true. I mean, you know,
Yes.
I need to help. Kahit sabi kasi ni Sec Boy kanina, kahit hindi DOST funded project, pag meron ng mga ganong klaseng compounds, sana pwede nang kuhanin at later stage ng DOST. Alam mo, I have a hard time getting the drug-resistant strains, whether from RITM or UP Manila. So, you know, we have the ATCC strains, say, for methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, but we have compounds that are active in Pseudomonas aeruginosa. And then I've been asking UP Manila, Raul Destura, and also RITM to test them in their clinical isolates, drug-resistant Pseudomonas aeruginosa, gram-negative. And I could not get through.
Yeah,
so,
well, but the priorities kasi just up eh. So that's why for other avenues nga to be able to accelerate it. Would be very interesting, Ami, indeed, for us to kind of sit down in what I can convince. Kasi I need to sell, I'm your salesman, guys, in terms of technology. And if the buyer will not buy until I put in my money, that's the only time I'll put in my money. Giselle, I'm not gonna release $1 million if I don't have a counter offer for $100 million on the other side.
Oh my gosh, so sige. So let's just do that, you know, but 100 million is even too much. Wag muna, wag muna. Wag naman, siguro lang.
Hindi kasi kailangan mo yan. I mean, I have people in the billions ang investment, but
but you know, they're not investing yet in this innovation.
Right now, unfortunately, even with the Tuklas Lunas Army, I don't have something to offer. That's my biggest frustration right now. Pag tinanong ako, starting with my father-in-law, chairman of Makati Business, is there anything investable, Al, that I can complete the story with my other? No.
So, G, okay. Kasi I think everyone has another meeting to go to. This is the subject of our Rec 5 meeting. Say with Gladys and Doralyn, G, you know, Al, let's continue this discussion, mas in-depth discussion on this in Rec 5.
Ganon din, Julius. Hindi ka nakalabas. Yung technology RI, kanino ko i-offer lahat yan. Pero bigay mo yung top 5. Bigay mo yung 5
Imagine. Okay, so anyway, maraming exciting developments. I'm telling you, Amiji, meron kaming compound from marine, tapos synergistically acting with doxorubicin. We pursued the animal study, the in vivo study na rin, okay, to show the synergy. Anyway, so maraming pwedeng i-explore at this point.
So yung binanggit ko
kanina, medyo retired na tayo. Al, It helps na retired na.
Yeah,
Nas na
they're
ipupush.
happily independent. But
Alright.
nevertheless, I think now the
And
time
may
has
next
come
yan.
for us. Science is in the forefront. People are asking
Lalo
us.
ngayon, all
Now-
the more now, in time of COVID, it just shows you that science is at the forefront. Okay?
Yeah.
So battle cry talaga yan. Beth is still here. Wow, she stays, all the way. And I just love it. The way
I couldn't say goodbye, so
committed
I will
one.
say goodbye now.
All
And
right,
I
we all
have
say
to
goodbye. And Julius, nako, ano yan?
I'll
Bright
have to
star.
listen to Julius's video
All right.
recording later because I missed that. Bye,
Yes.
everyone. Bye, Ami.
Okay,
Nice
thank
to
you
see
so
you.
much,
Bye.
everyone. Ning Ning,
Bye,
thank you
bye.
so much. Nadinig
Bye,
ko na.
ma'am. Thank you.
Vince, thank you so much, Vince.
Bye
Okay?
po,
All right.
ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Bye-bye now. Talagang never ending ito, pero masaya. Masaya. Nagiging mga matalik na kaibigan tayo. Okay, yan ang importante sa akin. Nagkakaintindihan tayo. Okay? In ways maybe na hindi kasi nga husay before. Pero ngayon, this new platform talagang helps us, no? Get to understand each other better. Thank you so much.
Ami, thank you for the support from PTRI. Merry Christmas daw po.
Hi, thanks too.
Alam mo, Ami,
talagang nag-level up na si Julius from the time I first met you.
Oh, yeah.
Years ago.
Oo. Tapos, Ami, pinupuntahan ko siya sa Taiwan. Naku, lagi
Oh, I also had the chance
marami pang
to visit him in Taiwan.
Marami pang alam yan. Bukod
Yes,
sa
ma'am.
textile, maraming dapat gawin yan para sa atin, hindi lang sa textile. Di ba? Okay.
Yes, of course.
Tutulungan kita.
Grabe ang training. Grabe.
Okay, bye,
bye-bye na
everyone.
talaga. Bye-bye.
Happy
Very, very
holidays.
nice. Thank you
Merry
so much.
Christmas,
Bye.
Dr.
See you on
Ami.
Tuesday.
Hi,
See you on
Ning.
Tuesday.
How are you?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, Ning Ning. Good to see you, ha?
See you, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye
Bye,
now.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.